Don't be that guy that looks back and goes, damn, I had the number one overall player fall to me at 6, 7, 8, 9, in my case, 10.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
You're looking at 2019 Fantasy Football ADP data, fresh data as of today from fantasyfootballcalculator.com. Good people, good site. Check them out if you need ADP data before your draft. Pretty standard 1 through 3. You could argue the order a little bit, but Barkley, Kamara, McCaffrey, pretty clear cut. Now, most people are going to say Hopkins, DJ, Adams as the 4 or 4 and 5. I've got Elliott right where he is right on this data. Now, this data is probably using months and months of data that had Zeke Elliott at 1, 2, or 3. That's why he still sits at 4. But if you go into a draft right now, he's falling to 5, 6, 7, 8. I got Zeke Elliott at number 10 in a recent draft of mine, and I was ear-to-ear grin when he fell to me. Zeke Elliott's my number 4. No, I'm not worried about him holding out week 1. Even if he misses 2 games, Tony Pollard plus the 14 games of Zeke Elliott gives you top 3 running back numbers. Pollard will be a very good player for 1 or 2 weeks if he needs to start. He's already shown he knows the offense. They trust him. He could be a 100-yard and a touchdown guy for week 1, week 2. I'm not worried at all. I think people are freaking out about Zeke Elliott, and it is something to take advantage of while it still lasts. Do not let this opportunity go to waste. Jump all over Zeke Elliott at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't be that guy that looks back and goes, damn, I had the number one overall player fall to me at 6, 7, 8, 9, in my case, 10. Hopkins, Adams, very, very arguable who could be the 1. David Johnson at 7 feels about right. Lev Bell, I like at 8, 9, or 10. You can call me crazy, but Julio is the only wide receiver in like the top 5, 6 that worries me a little bit. And I'm not saying I'm bumping him out of my top 12 or 13 overall, but I have Mike Thomas and Odell Beckham Jr. ahead of him, and I would take both wide receivers ahead of Julio. I still take Julio, like I said, at 12 or 13, 14, something like that. Most times he won't fall to that, so I don't find myself owning Julio a lot in 2019. Call it more gut instinct than anything, but I just worry about the foot. He's getting older. I think the changing of the guard will eventually happen between him and Calvin Ridley. I know this sounds crazy to a lot of you that love Julio Jones and draft him at 7, 8, 9. I get it. It's going to be uncomfortable when you try and predict a guy's decline a little bit before it happens. And I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying I won't draft him if he fell to me at 13 or 14, but I just feel way more comfortable with Hopkins, Adams, and Mike Thomas, and even Odell Beckham Jr. getting double-digit TDs and also staving off injury. And I know that sounds crazy because Odell Beckham Jr. is very injury-prone, but call it a gut instinct, call it whatever you want. I think Odell's happy. He's been working out. A happy Odell is going to be more likely a healthy Odell. I think huge numbers are in store for Odell in 2019, and I quietly have him finishing as my number 1 wide receiver in 2019. I know that's bold. I know a lot of people won't like that, but Odell Beckham Jr., I envision pulling in 14, 15 TDs in 2019, 1,300, 1,400 yards, and 90-plus receptions. I love Baker. I think this connection is going to be insane in 2019. And I love stacking Baker and Odell together. So Julio, Mike Thomas, James Conner's way too high. I find James Conner goes in the mid-second at the highest in real drafts that I do. But 1.11, I don't get why people aren't worried more about Jalen Samuels, Benny Snell, Eddie Faulkner, who coached Samuels in college at NC State. This is one of those situations where there's a lot of red flags and writing on the wall. They're talking about a committee. Yes, I know they never have had a committee before. Jalen Samuels is the best receiving running back on that roster. And if you want to say, no, Connor is, well, guess what? Samuels was a tight end in college as well as a running back. You can't win that argument. And Eddie Faulkner, his former coach at NC State, who's now the Pittsburgh Steelers running back coach, is going to use Samuels all over the field. So get ready to see a heavy dose of Samuels in the receiving game, sprinkled into the offense, even with Connor on the field, which will give Samuels an opportunity to showcase. And if his number's called, we already know what he's capable of doing. I think one of the coolest secret weapon grabs late in a draft is Samuels and Snell together. James Conner was my number 2 prediction of all of 2018. I'm not a James Conner hater. We just saw a recipe in Connor Samuels last year win leagues. I think we see a similar recipe in Samuels and Snell winning leagues in 2019. If you go down the path of taking Connor, just make sure you cuff him. Okay, Chubb at 12. Chubb could go at 9 in some drafts, and it's warranted. Just make sure you cuff him. I know the argument, Smitty, you can't take a guy that's out 9 weeks in Kareem Hunt. Yes, you can. Why? Because he's not going to take Chubb's job. Chubb is a very injury-prone, aggressive runner, a runner that's abusive to his own body with his rushing style. If anybody's going to get banged up in week 10, 11, 12 because they've been overused, they're a big runner, they're a big body, it's going to be Nick Chubb. And if there's any running back in the league, aside from like Darrell Henderson, maybe Darwin Thompson, there are a couple running backs I like that are in backup roles that could be elite if they get in there. Madison's another one. But I'll tell you right now, Kareem Hunt is one of those running backs that does not miss a beat if he gets into his team's explosive starting lineup. And don't sleep on Dontrell Hilliard, who the Browns will use right out of the gate in the receiving game. And if Chubb went down a week 2 or 3, Hilliard would be one of the top pickups in fantasy football. Mark my words on that one. I have a weird feeling about Dontrell Hilliard. Nick Chubb owners need to own him as they head into the year. I love Odell's ADP at 2.01. Tyreek Hill's good value. Juju's amazing value. This guy's a top 7 overall player, dropping sometimes to 2.03. I don't like Todd Gurley at 2.03. I love Dalvin Cook at 2.04, but his 80-yard touchdown isn't going to have him sitting around this value in a draft. Make no mistake about that. If you're buying Dalvin Cook from today forward, you're probably paying top 9 to 12, 9 to 13 overall value. And guess what? He's warranted at that value. He is a top 5. Just like I've said all offseason, Dalvin Cook has top 5, not just running back potential, top 5 overall value. I got ran out of chat rooms on Reddit and all over the place when I talked about this for months and months and months. And in January, I said I'd rather have Dalvin Cook than Todd Gurley. And I got laughed out of every chat room and horrible comments posted left and right. Now, all of a sudden, Dalvin Cook's everybody's number 5 overall running back. Surprise, surprise. Travis Kelce at 2.05 is warranted, but I don't draft him there because it leaves you voids at both running back and wide receiver when you go tight end that high. Joe Mixon is okay at 2.07. I called him one of the biggest bust candidates in the first round, and now his ADP has fallen to a more acceptable range. I still find that I don't own him in any drafts. I stay away from him, but that is more of an acceptable range at 2.07. I worry about a struggling offense, injuries all up and down the line. Andy Dalton, I don't believe in. AJ Green's hurt. It's a recipe for disaster. 2 coaches at OC and head coach that have never been head coaches before. They're converted QB coaches, and they got Andy Dalton to play with. Mike Evans steal at 2.08. Adam Thielen's way too high at 2.10. I like him as a 3rd drafted player, not as a 2nd. Antonio Brown could certainly earn 2.10 value, but I like him better in the 3rd. Damian Williams is fire at 2.11 to 3.08. Wherever he's going, he's kind of all over the place right now. Make sure you cuff him to Darwin Thompson because that duo together is a top 5 to 10 running back. And even though I love Damian Williams and I've talked about him, you can look up all the videos that I've done on him all offseason long while everybody rips on the guy and says, oh, he's a journeyman. He's never done it before. He's had all these years to do things and he hasn't done it. I've been a Damian supporter from the beginning. Even though I am, Darwin Thompson, you got to see value where it is. Darwin Thompson's one of the sneakiest standalone running backs to grab in your draft in rounds 8, 9, 10. Wherever you think you have to reach for him, own him in 2019. You don't own Damian Williams, doesn't matter. Go get Darwin Thompson. This is a top 5 to 10 running back. If he gets in there, that wins you a league. That kind of stuff gets you a 2nd round wide receiver in a trade, not the guys you're drafting in the 7th and 8th round as a wide receiver 4 or 5. Those guys won't win you a league. What will win you a league is when you drafted Darwin Thompson and he turns into a top 5 to 10 running back overnight like a pumpkin. Pat Mahomes at 2.12. I love it. I don't care what any of you say about drafting a QB early. Pat Mahomes, if he doesn't throw for 50 TDs, he'll throw for 44, 45 and run 4 or 5 in. He'll get 50 total TDs in 2019. Don't think he will? Then don't draft him. I can't wait to watch this guy improve. I don't know that his numbers will be exactly the same in 2019. Again, if he throws for 44, he runs for more. He only ran for 2 TDs in 2018 because he didn't need to run for more. It's funny that people are trying to say you can cap his value, his upside, his ability to get better after his first NFL season. Are you kidding me? Own Pat Mahomes in at least one of your leagues. You will regret it if you're going to watch him do what he's going to do in 2019 without having any shares anywhere. Mark my words, own him in at least one league and enjoy this ride that Pat Mahomes is about to take you on in 2019. Carry-on's way too high at 2.12. I like the guy, but he needs to be like your mid-third round pick. Keenan Allen's way too high at 3.01. Leonard Fournette, that guy's done nothing but disappoint me, and all of a sudden he earns back, what, third round value? How? What has he done in the offseason to earn that back? He was almost written off by the team early in the offseason. Devonta Freeman's a little high. I do like the upside. He has potential bounce back upside. Aaron Jones at 3.05 I like a lot. Chris Carson's way too high. George Kittle wins you a league at 3.07. Josh Jacobs that's fair value at 3.08. Stephon Diggs at 3.09 is okay. 3.09 David Montgomery. I thought the flashes of brilliance that he sprinkled into his second preseason game, just seeing him on the field would change people's expectation and that he would go in the late second round. I keep drafting him at like 3.04, 3.05, or I'll post an Instagram post saying he's gold in the third round. I still get a handful of people every time I release a video or have a comment somewhere that says, you like him in the third round? You like him that much? This guy keeps falling to the third and fourth round. You win your league if this guy becomes as good as I predict he will be at third and fourth round value. Kittle, Mahomes, David Montgomery are the best third round values. Amari Cooper at 3.10 is okay. 3.11 Zach Ertz, Julian Edelman 3.12. I don't like Edelman there. I don't like Ertz there. And again, Cooper's okay. Cooks at 4.03. That's about right. Melvin Gordon at 4.03. Take a stab at this guy as your fourth drafted player. Are you kidding me? I think I own him more than I own anybody right now in fantasy football drafts. I still have a grip of drafts to go, but in like 4 or 5 of my most recent drafts, I think I own him in almost every single one of them because fourth round value is too good to pass up on. I'll round out the top 4 rounds here, so we'll go down right there to Cup at 4.11, going back up, Hilton at 4.11, Mack at 4.10, Galladay at 4.10, Sonny Michel 4.09, Tyler Lockett way too high 4.08. I don't like any of these guys right here. They don't make me feel like I'm going to win a league with that pick. Tyler Lockett especially at 4.08. Derrick Henry I do like in the 4th round. He at least has top 10 running back appeal at 4th round value. That's what you want to aim for. I like Godwin at 4.05. He's going to have a big year. Mark Ingram might surprise some people. I like him better at the top of the 5th, but don't count out Mark Ingram for a surprise big-time running back performance in 2019. That does it. That's your top 4 rounds ADP breakdown by Smitty, the Fantasy Football Show, using Fantasy Football Calculator. Go check him out. Thanks for watching.
Top 5 running back. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.